before bringing Makat Bechorot, God has to be infuriated by the by the refusals of Paro. So this is a very common theme in the Bible.
God hardened Pharaoh's heart.
He doesn't allow any questions. I would like to speak to you half an hour about this, but I won't. And really, we cannot divert. We have 3 chapters today, and this is a lot of work. So, excuse me. Anyway, why do I prefer the explanation that God seeks a pretext and not Shimshon? Because if you take the other explanation, that Shimshon is really seeking warfare, and only goes and needs a neurotic pretext, then all what we will read afterwards is fake. Which means he doesn't love this woman, he's happy that the marriage doesn't succeed, and so on. And I simply cannot read the whole 3 chapters in this way. I believe that Shimshon is a victim of his behavior, but not that he actually planned it as a pretext. I think this kills the story. So now we say Shimshon looks for a Philistine woman because he believes, like Mr. Portney, if you remember him from your youth, that Portney's complaint, that you really conquer the other nation by getting the women of the other nation, or being accepted. You want really to be accepted by, let's say, to be French, more French than a French. You need a French woman who will accept you as a true Frenchman. So there were beautiful Israelite girls in Dan and in Yehuda, but he wanted full acceptance from the Plishtim. So he cannot fall in love in an Israeli girl. This is my interpretation. So he's very happy to see in Timnah this woman, and he wants her and only her, and doesn't listen to his parents. And here they go to do the preliminary arrangements. And you remember that the 3 of them go to Timnah. You can imagine that Tzorah is where Kibbutz Tzorah is today, and Timnah is a couple of miles to the west. And these are 2 border villages. And now this Israeli expedition, you say, move 3 figures among the vineyards, go to Timnah. Poor parents have to listen to their stubborn son. Happens quite often. And on the way, for a reason which is not given, Shimshon is leaving his parents. They continue to go to Timnah, and he goes to into the vineyards, and he is approached by a roaring lion. In Hebrew it says Kfir Arayot, and we learned in school that Kfir is a young lion, but today the scholars agree, and also the translators says a very strong lion. The story will be a little weak if this is a young lion. It must be a full-fledged lion. And the lion is roaring towards him, and Shimshon is tearing him up like you tear a kid. If I would translate, I would say a well-done kid. Because if they would tell me to tear a chicken, I am not sure I am able. But an Israeli peasant is able to tear up a kid, right? But not a lion. Now we cannot imagine how this happened. But the great or not great French, I wouldn't say, is he painter? What's his name? Auguste Doré? No? No. You all saw this picture. No. Third rate. But what's his name? Doré. Auguste Doré. Gustav Doré. We were educated in the religious schools in Jerusalem on Gustav Doré, and all of us have seen this. It's not a picture, it's an etching, I believe, that Shimshon is riding on the back of the lion, and then he has a place to put his fingers in order to tear him. So he puts his upper hand there between the teeth of the lion, and his lower and the other hand here, and he's tearing him up. I believe this is pshat because I cannot imagine another way. How can you tear a lion? Huh? Anyway, empty-handed, with his fingers, he is overcoming a lion. Now, the next verse you don't believe, and I don't blame you. It says, and he did not tell his father and mother what happened with the lion. This is unbelievable. Because heroes need glory, don't they? This is a food of heroes, glory. And he doesn't tell his parents? So we cannot continue. We have to ask ourselves what could be the reason. In the Bible, you know, the biblical narrative is always like a riddle. It does not tell us the motivations, it tells us only the facts. So we have to supply a theory. So one theory is that since he thinks about his riddle, he will tell his wife, I didn't reveal my secret to my parents. But there is no secret as yet because there is no honey, right? So there is nothing to hide. So we cannot accept this explanation. So I give you 2 seconds to think. Why shouldn't he tell his parents? You probably don't have a Jewish mother. I have. What will a Jewish mother tell Shimshon? Didn't I tell you so? God is have sent you the lion to show you your strength. Your tremendous strength. And you should know that you don't waste this present which you got from the Almighty. So since he knew in advance what his mother would say, because she is right, he doesn't tell her what he understands. Because he wants to be blind to the message of God which is delivered through the lion. He escapes his mission according to my understanding. So he has to close his eyes. So they arrive, and the narrator tells us, and he spoke with a woman, and she was beautiful, and ותמצא ותשאר בעיני שמשון, which means that he is not light-hearted, he is not behaving like an uneducated person, he knows what he wants, he knows that he has to wait now a year between these arrangements, shiduchim between the erusim and the nisuim, and he wants her and only her. ותשאר בעיני שמשון. And we are very impressed by this person. It's not that he's blackened by the narrator and says, oh, he's a bad person, you know. No. He's a serious person. And now, when they see this bridegroom, they invite 30 people, probably they are afraid of him, so they invite 30 plishtim to make merry with him and to guard him. This is not clear from the text. And now he makes his riddle. And he says, מהאוכל יצא מאכל, ומאז יצא מתוק, which shows us that he is not only highly intelligent, he is also a poet. He has a lot of poetry in the story. So in English it says, Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. English verses, quite nice, but this is far from biblical poetry. מהאוכל יצא מאכל, מאז יצא מתוק. But you understand the meaning. And this is a very difficult riddle. מהאוכל יצא מאכל, from the eater came out something to eat. You can say it's a cow. The cow eats grass and gives us milk. Or you can say the bee. From she eats whatever she eats, and we get honey. But מאז יצא מתוק, from the strong one we got something sweet. Nobody can discover the meaning of this riddle unless he knows what happened to Shimshon. But nobody knows what happened to Shimshon except him. So you can't believe I read 20 articles about this riddle, and all of them don't convince me. All these sophisticated professors try to find an answer, a good solution to the riddle. And I dare to say that this is an utterly unfair riddle. He knew well enough that it is an unfair riddle because it's based on hidden information. Now I must give you some kind of a theory. How come that a person who wants to be accepted by the Plishtim makes such a riddle which looks like a simultaneous chess, how do you say? Match. 1 against 30. This is impressive, huh? There comes a foreigner to Yerushalayim and says, I'm better than all of you. I can, blindfolded or not blindfolded, overcome 30 of you. And I will give you very convenient conditions. If you find the riddle, the solution to the riddle, I give you 30 linen tunics and whatever. And but if you don't, all of you, each of you, will give me a tunic linen and a set of clothing, which means that he takes a huge risk and they take a minimal risk. Right? Why does he do it? So I read in a book by an Israeli folklorist who says that weddings are a situation of strong tension. I don't know the weddings which you attend. But why? Because two foreign families meet on one playground, and you look, how is our side, and do they match our side, the other side, and you ask everybody, are you from our side or are you from the other side? I always say I am from both sides. So in these situations, in biblical times, they took 7 days. To fill up these days of tension, you need matches and riddles and so on, which give content to the situation, but also give expression to the fight between the two groups. So what I suggest to you is that Shimshon is behaving like an assimilant Jew. A Jew who really strongly wants to assimilate. And he wants to show the ruling power or the suppressing power group that he is not only stronger than they are, much stronger than they are. He gets 28% of the Nobel Prizes in the world, He is highly intelligent. He knows Goethe and Schiller much better than all of them. And he's overdoing his being one of them, which is a tragic side of this strong inclination or his strong want to assimilate. So there is some kind of ambivalence in his behavior. He wants to show his wife how clever he is, and that he's even rich, because he will bring the price of 70 linen tunics and so forth. due to his being more clever than they are. Now they thought that this is a fair riddle, and that 70 minds will find the solution. But after 3 days, they see that they are heading to a failure. And they are brute people. And they exert now their power on this poor bride. And they say, and they threaten her, if you don't exert the solution from your husband, from Shimshon, we will be burn your house and your father's house on you. We will lynch you. And the reader says, into this society Shimshon wants to join? Yes, I believe so. Anyway, she starts to harm